Dedans pirouettes. A lot of people have problems with these. They are much more difficult than en dehors, so I hope this helps you. So the first thing I want you guys to remember in an en dedans that is key is where your weight is in the preparation. If we are back like this, right, because we're going to turn on that front leg towards it, we're not spiraling like we do in en dehors, because we have to go to that leg. If you are back like this, you have to not only realign your stomach and your core, you also have to get on that leg. So it's a lot of weight to get up. So even in your fourth, I really want you, while you obviously have weight on both feet, you really want to be nice and forward. Maybe I should show you this way. Nice and forward on this leg and not back. Because some people think they're forward, but this happens. So really be nice and forward on your legs, then all you have to do is go up rather than up and over. Okay, so that's very, very key. The other problem that people have with en dedans is they tend to, even if they're fine here, this happens. They don't get fully up on that supporting leg, and you cannot turn, like we've talked about in other turning videos. It's the same across the board for any turns. You cannot turn if you're in a broken line. So as you do that en dedans, you're forward on this leg, almost think of the hips coming flat. I always had a teacher at SAD, Sean Lavery, would always tell me, hips flat, hips flat, hips flat. And he had a point, because I tended to, on my en dedans, be back like this. And so if you think of your hips being flat as you're turning, you're in one absolutely straight line. So from here, you can almost practice an en dedans like that. Put your hands here and think of keeping your hands straight as opposed to them breaking when you do a turn. So we're here, and you want to keep them flat, and you can get around, right? As opposed to, that's when you fall over. Going back to, again, same thing applies for other turns. Make sure you're going up. It's that principle I've told you about before, that somebody has you by the ribs, and on your en dedans, they take you up rather than staying low. I'm exaggerating, but so many people don't realize they're not going up. So really think of, again, you can try it like that. Arms on the ribs, and somebody's literally taking you and lifting you. Lift, and then you can get around. It's almost easier, I think, to do an en dedans with the arms in fifth as opposed to the arms in first, because you get that feeling, right? It forces you to go up rather than keeps us here. So if you're struggling with your en dedans, try it with the arms up. See what happens. Because you want to have that feeling even if the arms are in first, right? It's that lift through the waist while keeping the hips flat and staying forward. Obviously, there are two different types of en dedans. Some people learn the open and in, and some people learn just in. I advise you, if you're struggling with your en dedans, to start practicing the open and the in, because actually what that does is it trains this leg, it trains you to get over that leg immediately. Because if your leg goes side, you have to get over that supporting hip, right? As opposed to this. So if you're struggling, just try that. Do that second and in. And you'll feel how it forces you over the ball of that foot, it forces you over that hip, and you will start to train your en dedans correctly. Once you've mastered that, take it out, but keep the feeling. Keep the feeling, and you're fine. So it's going back to what I talked about at the beginning, where we gotta be over this front hip. We can't be back, can't be back, can't be back here. You wanna be right up over that leg. Last thing, as in all the turns, your shoulders are important. If we do an en dedans, and we're like this, you're not gonna get around. Your turn comes from here. So really, shoulders around. That's your turn, right? Your turn is not whipping the arm. Your turn is bringing this shoulder, right? You don't really need your arms if you have your shoulders to bring you around. And the other thing, in addition to that, is if the arms are going up, you want to think of them going together. I see a lot of people do en dedans like this. 1, 2. You want to think they are completely in sync because this gives you momentum. Watch, this is the wrong way. Right? You're lost. As opposed to them being together, up and down. See? It gives you the force and somehow puts you right in line. So even if its arms are in first, think of them going together as opposed to this one being late, right? That's your position. That's your position. Last little thing, I know I've given you a lot to think about, make sure you're using the back foot. If you rely, from the side again, if you rely on just this leg to get you up, you have nothing. So really, while the weight has to be here, use that back foot. We should do it this way. Use that back foot as your power, right? So we're not like this and then this, okay? So again, it's that, almost think, here's how you can think of this. Think of this opposite arm going to fifth and the toe being on a string, and they move together. Everything arrives together, okay? So use that back foot, use your arms, and they all arrive together, and you can get around. So remember, forward on the leg, make sure this is forward as well. Use that back leg, right? Hips are flat, don't go around in a broken line. Shoulders around, arms together, everything arrives together. And if you're still struggling, start training your en dedans with the second and the in, because that will train your leg, your hip to get right in line, and you should really be able to improve your en dedans. All right, you guys, if you missed my video on being a professional dancer, where I kind of tell all, you can click it to watch us over there. Here are my social media links. Don't forget the giveaway ends on Tuesday. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.